in relation to the intimate feeling between two people that hold together a partnership, there is also the love we have for family and friends. The love we hold for ideas and experiences, and the love we have for ourselves. In all instances, love is something precious, central, and it carries a cohesive quality that brings a sense of unity and harmony within individuals. And in the bonds they form with others and the world, to better understand, let's take a closer look at each major application of love. The love within. The love that exists within you demarcates the health of the relationship you have with yourself. I'll read this again. The love that exists within you demarcates the health of the relationship you have with yourself. How much we understand the depth of our emotional history, the power we have to not run away from our heavier emotions, the courage we have to accept all that we encounter when we turn our attention inward, and the determination we have to evolve into greater version of ourselves are signifiers of the amount of self-love that we carry within us. Self love meaning the energy you use to care for, heal and free yourself, is an essential building block that helps you the essential building block that helps you have a peaceful mind and a open heart that is ready for connections with others. The application of self love has three components. Number one, radical honesty with yourself. This is a continuous process where you make sure that there are no longer any lies between you and yourself. You check in with yourself regularly to confirm there aren't parts of your emotional history that you are hiding from, and that you are moving forward in your daily life without intentionally deluding yourself. You embrace truth because you know it will help you evolve, even if it at first difficult to face. Positive habit building. This is a deep process built on radical honesty and self acceptance, where you are real with yourself about what harmful habits you need to stop feeding. And you turn your energy to focus on cultivating the characteristics and healthy patterns that you require to live a greater life. This is where you self love truly shines. You do the hard and consistent work that help you take yourself to the next level. Remember not to do everything at once. Solidifying a few positive habits before adding more can make the journey more sustainable. Number three, self acceptance. Self love is not just about personal transformation, it is also about deeply embracing who you are at this moment and where you are in your journey. Self acceptance helps you develop peace with your emotional history so that you can face your past, understand the hardships, and feel motivated to learn from them so that trauma does not need to repeated or passed down. Acceptance also helps you appreciate your innate imperfections so that you are not harsh with yourself when you inevitably make mistakes. A lot of struggles we face can be attributed to lack of self love. Self love impacts how we see our value and self worth, and how deeply we are able to connect with ourselves and other people. Literally, every facet of life is impacted by our self love, because without it, we are out of balance. Self love creates the inner harmony needed to reach our full capacity. Self love is not only a practical set of actions, but also an undeniable measurement that can help Gauge the depth of your current and future relationship. Self love makes having a beautiful life much more possible. People, people who double down on kindness, even when life has been rough, bring a special magic into the world. A hard past has taught them to be cautious and intentional without completely closing their heart. They treat people gently because they know that many are struggling in silence. The love of family and friendship. On a similar level, love is often a way that we describe our connection with our parents, our family, and some of the closest friends. There is power and care in these links that form the web of your life. When it comes to people and begins we care about and beings we care about, love is powerful feeling that fills us with warmth, joy, and care. These essential connections that form our closest circle are not only deeply nourishing, but they are comprised of the people that help us mold our place in the world. Human beings are innately communal. We not only thrive together, but we understand ourselves in a reference to other people. We are not only individuals, but we are also children, siblings, parents, friends, etc. The people we cherish help form our identities and how we see ourselves in daily life. We are relational beings. We evolved to exist in groups because we rely on one another not just for physical needs but for emotional connection. It has been clearly studied how loneliness negatively affects physical health and how important these deep connections are to our well being. Being deeply seen and heard by another being is an important and validating experience. It is not uncommon to have difficulty and tension within families and friendship over time, just as can happen in partnerships. One of the major areas of tension within families happen when parents hold very rigid and defined expectations for their children that they either can't or don't want to follow through with. We want those around us to be happy, but at times we are too specific about how we want this happiness to look. Our own trauma often drives us to want to control others. We have trouble loving others as they are rather than as we want them to be, and we may withhold our love and approval if they don't meet our expectations. I'll read this again. We have trouble loving others as they are rather than as we want them to be, and we may withhold our love and approval if they do not meet our expectation. This type of love is conditional rather than unconditional. And I believe we should live our lives first and foremost for ourselves and follow the path we feel is right, while also doing our best to skillfully and gently handle these core relationships in our lives. Another common issue is when people feel their parents did not show up for them in the way they needed to feel loved and supported growing up. We can't change the past, but as adults, we can now try to find the resources and communities we need to fill those gaps. And we can work to cultivate compassion for our parents who are imperfect beings. Many parents did not intentionally I'm sorry for that. Many parents did not intentionally try to hurt their children. Sometimes resources were limited, or they were trying their best, or doing what they thought was right, just as we are. Life innately has ups and downs, which come with inevitable hardships. But we are fortunate to have people in our lives who we can lean on during turbulent moments. They not only help us, but these are the people who we stand with and support when they too are going through struggles. These bonds of with friends and family create situations where the purest form of love, selfless giving, can be enacted. Some of us have experienced serious trauma from family members, but even in the case of chosen family, that is, dear friends, when these people go through a hardship, we are there for them and selflessly give them support. This is beautiful. The beautiful part is that these relationships carry the type of love that is reciprocated. You are there for them because you love them, but they are also on standby, ready to support you when you need it. The joy was experience is multiplied greatly when shared with those we love, and hardship is eased when spread over the network of support. Anybody wants to take it from here?
I'll go.
Okay, okay, Pravina.
The love of wisdom. Love can also be understood as a fruit of wisdom. It is possible to elevate your love to a supreme level where you view yourself and all the beings with the eyes of compassion. To be able to see people and the world through the lens of love is an elevated mental state that requires intentional cultivation. It's a long road to free yourself of hate and division so that your mind can think of all beings, even the difficult ones you have caused harm, in a compassionate manner, but it is possible to get there. Honestly, that is the apex of personal development where this journey leads. Having compassion for all beings does not mean you have condemned harmful actions. One of the beautiful parts of healing your mind and heart is that as much as you heal, your love and peace increase in equal measure. Every step yields beautiful results that affect your life positively here and now. And the further you take it, the more you gain. Love is the primary domain of the mind that has freed itself from suffering. It is the home of sages who have witnessed ultimate truth. In this sense, love and freedom are synonymous. This apex of love is only possible when the mind has risen above the attachments of ego and finally understood the true is found in letting go. Love as a tool to express what's important. To a simpler degree, the word love is often used to describe the things and activities that we feel really strongly about. So, what we speak about them, there is no confusion that this is something that truly means a lot to us. We often use the word love to describe activities that are central to the identity that we have formed, or to describe aspects of culture like movies or music that have moved us deeply or helped us understand parts of our own story. In this sense, love is used as a word that aggregates all the things that we find special. It brings anything that helps support our identity closer to us so that we are engaging with the other person. They have a clear sense of who we are and what we care about. What you love defines you. What you love defines you, and it helps others to get a sneak peek into who you really are. The love of partnership. Before all these other ways we love, the image most of us think of is the love between partners. It is evident in a way that is it is evident in a way they want to be around each other, how they build a new life as a couple, the way they care for each other, and how they see themselves as a team that takes on life and all of its up and downs. It is elevated connection that can I lost the point there. It is an elevated connection that can sometimes last the length of a lifetime. Even if it does not last a lifetime, it is undeniably powerful. It is a bond that is simultaneously intimate, nourishing, and challenging. Our lives are defined by relationships and romantic connections that end up being some of the most valuable and memorable pieces of our tapestry. We invest a great deal of energy and attention into them, and they often lead to the creation of new families, new memories, and new love. It is deeply healed to be seen and loved by another. It nourishes us in a way no other connection does. And so, despite the risks and the vulnerability required, we jump in and hope for the best, knowing that we can do our best, but that not everything is in our control. What love isn't? The greatest enemy of love is attachment. Why? Because it tries to distinguish itself as love. There is a similarity between closeness and clinging that every easily confuses the mind. There is a similarity between closeness and clinging that easily confuses the mind. A well fed connection between two people can create a nurturing feeling of closeness, while a fear of loss or craving to control creates the type of clinging that tries to grasp other person with tension. Closeness can foster a relationship, while clinging can stifle a relationship and drain it of love. A combative relationship with nature, one that does not adhere to its primary law of change, will not only create inner struggle, but it will also push people away. Attachment is essentially a refusal to come to terms with change. It's an attempt to keep things the same or under your power. Attachment will most often manifest as an attempt to control. In a relationship, this seeking of control can turn a harmful behaviors like manipulation, selfishness, and a refusal to evolve or allow others to evolve. In Khalil Gibran's famous piece on marriage, he wrote, but let there be spaces in togetherness. Love one another, but make not a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. I'll repeat all again. But but let there be a spaces in your togetherness. Love one another, but not make a bond of love. Let it rather be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup. Okay. Sorry, I'm taking little time to adjust my screen as well. Give one another of your bread, but eat not from the same loaf. Sing and dance together and be joyous, but let each other one of you be alone. Even as the string of a lute are alone, though they quiver with the same music, and stand together, yet not too near together. For the pillars of the temple stand apart, and the oak tree and the cypress grows not in each other's shadow. Attachment is the root of behaviors that leads to relationship breaking. Love is meant to be grounded in freedom. Attachment is an opposite force of freedom. It tries to keep things the same, while freedom understands that change is ultimately good. Attachment will create images in your mind of what you crave the most, and it will direct your energy into creating and maintaining them in the external world. Commonly, this looks like taking the image of a person you are attracted to and letting that image morph and inflate in your mind. We can end up falling in love with the idea we have of someone, and whenever the reality of that person deviates from the image we have of them in our mind, we fear the dissonance and fight against it. Attachment will ask our loved ones to stay the same, but this is impossible. When the river of existence constantly flows forward, human beings are changing, whether they are aware of it or not. Those of us who seek better lives will intentionally embrace change and use it to our advantage so that we can evolve in a ways that generate stability, joy, and fulfillment. Even those who do not actively seek change will slowly morph into their present preferences through thought patterns and interest over time. Attachment will make it so Attachment will make it so that your partner changing feeling scary because the person you fell for will slowly alter into someone new. You may even fear that you may even fear that as they change, you will no longer be interested in maintaining a relationship with you. Asking a person to stay still, to not grow, to remain as the image you cling to in your mind is unfair to them, unrealistic, and this is an ask that is far from love. Manipulation arises from the deep craving to control, which ultimately stems from attachment. At the root of main manipulation is insecurity and fear. Selfishness is the antithesis of love. I'll repeat. Selfishness is the antithesis of love. At its highest level, especially when the mind has a lot of cultivated wisdom, a person will have a great capacity to give. Giving is one of the ultimate ways that love is demonstrated. Being self centered or egocentric can stop love in its tracks because love is only true when it nourishes both people. If the relationship becomes solely about fulfilling the needs and wants of one individual, the other will feel oppressed and hurt. One of the biggest misunderstanding of love is thinking that the dramatic parts of the relationships are love itself. Drama can feel exciting and enlivening, but is much closer to entertainment and conflict than love. We think we think this way because we do not see how attachment, the way we crave for things to exist, and our attempts to control and mold reality, impact mo- our attempts to control and mold reality, impact and even dilute the love we have for each other. Attachment is a thing causing hurt, pain, discord, and the rough emotions and the mental state that causes strain in our lives. Love itself is an energy that flows with powerful stability and harmony. It is the force that is not selfish or controlling. It is open and profoundly giving. Love is a state of sublime letting go, while attachment is a grip of control. Confusing love with attachment has dire consequences. As the mind becomes less conditioned by the past it holds, as the mind becomes less conditioned by the past it holds, it becomes easier to see the difference between attachment and love. As your self-awareness, as your self-awareness develops, it becomes clear that love carries a feeling of ease and attachment has a feeling of tension. We all come into relationship with attachment because 99.99% of us are not fully liberated beings who have eradicated the suffering that comes from the craving and attachment. A blend of attachment and love is the normal state of our mind, a mixture of roughness and lightness, and we bring all of this into our relationship with our partners, and they bring a similar mixture to us. Our beings come together, our beings come together, but
What
so do
happened,
our.
Prabhu?
Am I audible?
Yes, now you are. I think I lost you. I don't know if everybody would hear you. I lost you in between.
Okay, okay. Should I have to continue from that paragraph?
Yes, yes. We all come into relationships. Start with
Okay,
this
okay,
line.
okay, okay. Sure. We all come into relationship with attachment because 99.99% of us are not fully liberated beings who have eradicated the suffering that comes from craving and attachment. A blend of attachment and love is the normal state of our mind, a mixture of roughness and lightness. And we bring all this into our relationship with our partner, and they bring up similar mixture to us. Our beings come together, but so do our accumulated traumas, trigger points, and everything else that can create a friction between two people. It is sometimes hard for us to see the difference between attachment and love because The drama that comes with relationship is seen as normal and persuasive, pervasive. But this does not mean that we cannot try harder. If we really love the one we are with, and if we really love ourselves, we have no other choice but to accept the challenge of growth and do our best to overcome the attachments that make our minds tense and rigid. If there is an intentional development of self awareness, over time it will become easier to see ourselves and examine where our true motivations are coming from. Am I speaking and acting? Am I speaking and acting from the place of attachment or the place of love? Oh, okay. These are the reflection questions. How do you define love? When have you felt most loved? How does someone have to show up for you to feel loved? What did you love from the times when people have failed to love you well? Do you feel like your heart is open and ready for connection? How could you open it more?
Okay, I think chapter we have finished the chapter. I don't know how long the sixth chapter is. I think it is pretty long. We will not be able to finish it. So, what is the idea? Should we read some parts of it, or should we continue for the
I
discussion?
think we
It's already
can
three.
continue like for 10 minutes, maybe whatever we can finish, so that
Mhm.
maybe tomorrow it will at least finish. Otherwise, it will go on for one more day
Yes,
if
yes,
it's too
because
long.
it's already three, no? So,
Yeah,
like
that's
we
my
can.
suggestion. That will go with everyone.
Okay, I think we can read because half an hour of we have half
Okay,
an hour in
as
hand.
everyone is okay, I'm okay.
Great. Shall I continue or do anyone has to take it forward?
Anyone wants to read? Prabhu, if you can, you please continue.
Oh, sure.
I can also read, like if she wants to stop. If you want to read, please go on.
Uh, yeah, Mansi, you can take it forward. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Love, chapter 6, love is commitment and understanding. We often see the world in terms of what we want instead of what we can give. Goals and desires that are wrapped in tension lose their sense of balance and dissolve into attachments where we make our happiness dependent on their outcome. I'll read this again. Goals and desires that are wrapped in tension lose their sense of balance and devolve into attachments where we make our happiness depend on their outcome. In this sense, we think we are striving for our own happiness, but what we are actually doing is striving for the fleeting pleasure that we feel when we get to control an outcome. Happiness and pleasure are not the same thing. Happiness comes from a deep sense of inner balance and peace. It is easy to access when your self love and selflessness are at equal levels. The highest levels of happiness are possible when you allow the truth that everything is changing and will continue to change to inspire you to arrive at the present moment with greater presence. The intentional act of presence, where you are focusing your attention on the wonder of the moment and you are quietly reminding yourself that the moment in front of you is unique and can never be exactly duplicated ever again, makes you cherish the people in your life at a much deeper and genuine level. Attachment makes things exceedingly difficult in relationships, but a healthy partnership requires the sharing of power so that you both feel like equal designers of the life you are crafting together. Wow, this line is so beautiful. Attachment makes things exceedingly difficult in relationships because a healthy partnership requires the sharing of power so that you both feel like equal designers of the life you are crafting together. Preferences and goals are required to design your life, but the mental wiring of attachment often take these too far. It becomes emboldened and makes desire and craving its primary focus. This builds tension around a certain outcome and creates a limitation on the mind where, as your attachment to a particular outcome, I missed the it increases your own perspective growth. Is it right?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Increases your own perspective grows proportionately and you begin to struggle to see the perspectives of others. Desire in a relationship is healthy to a certain extent. There is nothing wrong with desiring your partner to treat you well or for there to be good communication between the two of you or any of the other qualities that make a relationship harmonious and vibrant. The issue arises when you want everything all at once in a constant state of perfection. Even people who have done great work on themselves will not be able to show up as the best version of themselves every hour of every single day. Human beings go through natural ups and downs and make it hard to and always get things right. We should have a goal to have a healthy and beautiful relationship. And at the same time, we should make sure that this goal doesn't convert into getting attached to having a perfect relationship. Voluntary commitments. If desire to have certain things in a relationship is okay, but attachment takes things too far, where in is the middle ground? Our best option is to focus on commitments. The dangerous thing about attachments is that they can bring out the worst in a person. Attachments can morph into controlling behaviors that squeeze the freedom out of a relationship. Commitments, on the other hand, are a combination of honesty and empowerment. Commitments support each person voluntarily, offering what they can bring to the partnership. Commitments work when you both let each other know how you would like your relationship to work, and once you hear each other's wants, you can both reflect and ask yourself, is what my partner wants something that I want to willingly do for them for and for us? In relationships that are based on commitments, there is no coercion. You do not feel pressure to do things. Instead, you have information about what your partner desires, and out of your own will and love, you can decide to meet those desires. Designing your relationship around commitments makes it so you are both consistently in your power. There is never an underlying feeling that you are obligated to do something, but you do have is clarity. But what you do have is clarity. When you understand clearly how you can support your partner's happiness, you can take it upon yourself to act in ways that are uplifting to you and your partner. What makes commitment work is that there is great joy in seeing your partner happy, seeing them smile and have comfort and security. When the person you love is happy, that happiness will easily bring out the happiness that is inside of you. Sympathetic joy is what makes commitments worthwhile. Yeah. 5 green flags that get overlooked: kind eyes, open heart, good energy, caring actions, and honest speech. Wow. You need two things to make a relationship based on commitments work: honesty and reciprocity. Your honesty directly nourishes your vulnerability, which opens up the possibility for greater connection. Honesty is necessary from both partners. Only through honesty does communication become worthwhile and meaningful. You can talk all day, but if you keep avoiding the truth, you're not really communicating. Honesty is the quality that is feeding and making the connection between the two of you deeper and stronger. Saying that honesty can make or break a relationship is not an understatement. If you really love someone, you have to step closer to them with the truth. You both need to be honest about how you would like your happiness to be supported, but you also need to be honest about what is within your capacity to do. If something your partner is asking for feels wrong or is simply not possible, you need to speak up and say so. You are not obligated to fulfill every single one of your partner's desires. The magic of a relationship happens when you are aware of all their desires and you find the ones that feel doable for you to fulfill. Not in the sense that it is a duty to fulfill them, but because it genuinely feels exciting and good for you to do so. This is why the voluntary commitment approach adds to the harmony of a relationship, because you both are checked in with what each other and then yourselves about what is a good idea to act on. Usually, what your partner wants and what you want to give are not too far apart. It just requires a bit of honest clarification for those things to align more smoothly. A calm and honest conversation can go a long way when it comes to giving you both the understanding you need to be successful in supporting the health and happiness of your relationship. The same way that honesty needs to work both ways, it must be clear that you are both putting effort into taking care of each other. It takes two people to create a healthy relationship, but doing their best to give love and receive love. One sided relationships where one partner is doing more of the emotional heavy uplifting, doing more of the care work, always being the one who is calm while the other is not, can be quite draining and unsustainable in the long run. One of the reasons two human beings come together in a relationship is because life is hard. We not only come together because the bond of love is strong, but there is also the added benefit that partnership divides the workload and you have two people doing the problem solving instead of one. Having someone to bounce ideas off or think things through with is incredibly valuable. If too much of the emotional and physical work of the relationship falls onto one person, the feeling of not being appreciated or the feeling of not having someone care for you properly will start to grow and become a hindrance between the two of you. It's not that you have to split each task 50-50. You each have your strengths. The important thing is you're both contributing and appreciating your partner's efforts. Understanding how to care for each other properly is a long term goal, but what matters is that the effort is apparent and that active care is improving. Making sure that the commitments you make to each other are not lopsided and that you both are taking the love you feel for the other and turning it into a set of actions that feeds the relationship is important. The same way you have to care for yourself as individuals, you also have to care for the relationship by actively supporting each other's happiness. Okay, do we want to stop here or continue, Jyoti?
I think we can continue, Mansi. It's 3:12 only. We can read for I think 5 to 7 minutes more.
Okay, okay. Anyone wants to read? I can continue otherwise, not a problem. But just asking if anyone wants to read. No one? Okay,
Mansi, you
I'll read.
continue. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, okay. This topic is not too big, na? Like just asking.
Let let me check. Let me check. It is I think one, two, 2.5 pages.
Okay. Will we finish? Shall I read?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay. Establish understanding as your goal. When you understand what your ideal relationship looks like, you need to also be aware of what you will need to get there. I'll read this again. When you understand what your ideal relationship looks like, you need to also be aware of what you will need to get there. Just as it is important to establish a relationship that is constructed out of voluntary commitments, it is also important to know that when any friction arises, your goal is not to win, but to understand. If we can understand the problem, the answer will come out of it. Because the answer is in the problem. It is not separate from the problem. Yeah. Jiddu Krishnamurti. Partners will often miss the opportunity to understand each other because they're too focused on the tension in their minds. It is easy to quickly become attached to feeding the tension in your mind, which makes you pay less attention to what your partner is saying and more attention to how you want to respond so that you can prove you are correct. Because your mind our minds have a reactive tendency that is often listening fast. When we feel sad or threatened, we will jump into defensive behaviors. Initially we feel like this will make us safe, but when we do this, we unconsciously act like our partner is our enemy. This slows down our ability to understand because we are so focused on winning the debate. In reality, there is no debate. When we real when but even when real mistakes have been made or harm is done, and the better approach is to understand where this behavior is coming from. Understanding has the power to rectify and it has the power to diffuse the tension of an argument. When you're able to see things from your partner's perspective and they can simultaneously see things from your perspective, it becomes easier to see the chain of events and how you got to the argument in the first place. It is easier to accept an apology when you can see the root of these emotions and how they fed into the mistakes that were made of the disagreement that arose. If the goal is to understand each other and that understanding will be able to diffuse the situation, how do we get there? Trying to apply anything during an argument can feel tremendously difficult, but you must start somewhere. The key thing to establish is to do your best to deliver your truth without getting overheated. Speaking for yourself and using I statements are always helpful. Calm communication, even during an argument, can make both of you feel safer so you can let down your defenses and focus on understanding each other, as opposed to feeling like you are in survival mode. Calm communication is not about faking anything. It is simply applying the reasoning that speaking to each other in a respectful manner will help you more efficiently arrive at an understanding that helps you close the chapter on the argument. It also, from there, it also maintains the respect and love you have for each other even in these difficult moments. Selfless listening is a skill that we'll all need to intentionally cultivate. It is so easy to get stuck only thinking about your own thoughts and emotions in the midst of an argument. Just give me a minute. Sorry, just just give me a minute. Only you. Where was I? Selfless listening is a skill that we all need to intentionally cultivate. It is so easy to get stuck only thinking about our thoughts and emotions in the midst of an argument. To be able to end the argument in a way where nothing is buried and both people feel genuinely better, each person needs to practice selfless listening so that both stories are clearly understood. Intention can help us focus our energy into simply listening without adding anything onto what we are hearing. Selfless listening is an intentional practice of objectivity. You're taking in the other person's perspective as data that helps you see a picture that is bigger than the narrative your mind wants to cling to. This is specifically difficult when you feel wronged. But even in these cases, it is worthwhile to hear why your partner did what they did. Another aspect that helps with understanding is the power of compassion. Once you settle into calm communication and start listening selflessly, do your best to put yourself in your partner's shoes. See things from their perspective so that you can get a better feel for why their actions lined up the way they did. Compassion is the medicine that helps us break out of our confined perspectives. Seeking to understand each other is doubling down on the great truth that no one is your enemy. Arguments can get so heated that they feel like combat without the physical violence. And in these moments, there is the striving for victory where one person wins and the other loses. In these cases, there is a great potential for resentment from both individuals. Seeking to understand not only creates a safer environment for each partner's emotions, but it also makes this moment of tension something that can be quite productive and even help you become closer as a couple. There is a beautiful level that relationships can enter where enough emotional maturity is established so that both of you feel safe enough to be authentic and honest. You have each spent enough time and energy establishing the architecture of your emotional home, and now you get to enjoy the feeling of security and active care that bonds the two of you. Not only are you two deeply in sync, but you are intentional about treating each other with kindness and curiosity. Life continues its natural ups and downs, challenges come and go, hard moments give you their lessons, but even among it all, you two remain assured in your support and care for each other and maintain the goal of elevating the love that flows between you. Even if this chapter of your lives is harmonious, there is never any expectation of perfection. There are still disagreements between you and things you each will occasionally have to apologize for. But conflict is now held in a different container. Even when you argue, you can both still feel that you love the other deeply. There is no malice in your words, but instead you are more interested in understanding each other and coming to a resolution that feels good to the both of you. Nothing is flawless. Tension and irritation still arise. But happiness has never been more abundant. The inner work into that you both put energy into is the key that opens the door to this new era. Understanding is love's other name. If you don't understand, you can't love. Think Nath Han. Okay, we'll stop here now. Are we stopping here?
Yes, yes, Mansi, we'll stop here. And
Okay, okay.
from tomorrow onwards, we'll start reading this.
Yeah,
And
it's page 122.
this is page number. I
I guess.
think this is page number 122. So, if in case I am not present tomorrow, please remember the page number 122 from
Okay.
preventative communication. So, yeah,
Yeah,
thank you, Mansi, for reading this. We are open for discussion. So, whatever we have read today, Deepa ji, Shruti ji, and I don't know who is this SH. If somebody want to share something, Mansi, please go ahead. Anybody?
Yeah, girls, you please go ahead. I will listen today.
Oh, okay, okay. Mansi, you want to share something? Prabhu?
yeah. One thing that just popped up and repeatedly came through all the reading that we read today. So the one thing is what I felt from today's reading that they say, right, like when it's between partners or anything, any teamwork or something, it always has to be it should not be I versus you, but it should be we versus the situation. So all the things that I read personally today, I think was in alignment of the same concept. Like it should be like when you're listening, and we also covered this up yesterday where we talked about listening with the intention to understand, being curious, not from the intention of responding and winning the argument. So I think that was covered today. So it was a wonderful read, and I feel now the book is taking us deeper and deeper into actual implementations of this thing of having healthy relationships, and even the part of the argument that they talked about, how you have to be arguing also calmly from a place of respect and understanding. That was very beautiful. That was very beautiful today. I feel like it was very, very beautiful. Like, and I think the intention of having a nurturing and a healthy relationship and respectfulness, a mutual respect, I think takes you a long way. Is what the book also talked about. I like that line about designing your life together, where you're crafting your life together, and that's how you just feel safe with one another. So I loved that part. So there are many parts and many highlightable things I felt in our reading today. I loved it overall.
Yeah, and what I felt was today there was a section where we talked about the difference between love and attachment. That was very beautiful to me because a lot of times we actually get confused on the feelings. Like if we are feeling attached to someone, we confuse that particular feeling with love, and we started commanding, or maybe we want to establish that authority, or we want a person to be in a certain way. All these things basically are the sign of attachment and not love. Love is basically the liberation, and I really loved how we started with the fifth chapter where it says that love and relationship is not with only your partner, it is with your friends and family, and with the people around you, and most importantly it is with you. So once you maintain the relationship good with yourself, like you feel that it is very important to maintain a good relationship between friends, between families, with your loved ones, with your partner. But we sometimes ignore the relationship with us. So it is equally important to maintain that good relationship with ourselves as well, because until and unless we are in a good relationship with ourselves, we won't be able to maintain that good relationship with anybody else out there. So the importance of self love, and how beautifully the author has actually explained that how we can cultivate self love. He has told certain steps, and to keep a check on certain things, it is very important. And the reflective questions actually we read today at the end of the fifth chapter, it was a blend of, it will actually take you towards the thing where you can actually see how much you love yourself. And if you claim that you love somebody else also, is it love or is it attachment? All those reflective questions play a major role to identify your love with yourself and your love with others also. So I think everybody should go through all those questions and should be able to answer it for themselves. So yeah, that was my take on it. Thank you so much. Anybody else?
I would like to share my takeaway on the
Yes, yes.
questionnaire. What is love? Okay. So I feel the biggest thing is, when you actually go into any relationship to take, okay, when, as you just emphasized, Jyoti, that, we should be happy with ourselves, we should be fully satisfied with ourselves, only then we can love the other person fully. So when we are deprived with our emotional state, we are not at our best, and we are going to the other relationship only to take, then it is not love. And when we are going in, when we are so fully, satisfied with ourselves, we are at our best energies, and then, when you are going in any relationship to give, okay, so I think that is what is love as per me. So that is just my takeaway on this. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that, Shrutiji. And obviously, whatever we read for the sixth chapter, it was a very short read. We read only two topics. But obviously, the sixth chapter, I think it is telling us that what should we cultivate to have a better relationship, and that is understanding. So the importance of understanding and cultivating understanding, being really mindful while you are reacting or responding to what your partner says and their actions is really important. So I think this chapter will be very beneficial for the people who are in the relationship and obviously who want to be into a relationship, because understanding is the root of everything. I also want to highlight that one particular line: when you think that your partner is calm enough and he is taking care of everything, and okay, this can go like this forever, I think we need to check on our behaviors as well, because one partner doing every part of that understanding can be draining, and obviously eventually it will lead to break in your relationship only. So keeping a check on how both the partners should give their energies to the relationship is very important, and efforts to the relationship is very important. It can be sometimes 50-50, it can be sometimes 60-40, sometimes it can be 100% from one person and 0% from another person, but it should not be a constant thing that only one person should give everything to the relationship and another person is not responding and giving efforts at all. So I think keeping a check on this and talking to your partner regarding all these things is really and equally important for the relationship to sustain and maintain a healthy, healthy mental health or physical health also. I think is important, because the author also emphasized on how loneliness can actually lead you to the depression part of it. So I think being a good relationship and having a very good relationship with yourself and with your partner and the people around you is extremely important for your mental and physical health as well. So I think we should all reflect on all these type of things which we are actually learning and reading. So yeah, that is all from my end. And anybody else, if they want to share something, anyone?
Yeah, can I go?
Yes, yes, please.
Um, yeah, actually, I am just wondering how every topic is interrelated to each other. So it feels like uh, uh, the author is actually summarizing almost a similar topic where he is actually keeping on the topic of balance in so many different forms, is how I look at. My key takeaways is again the past. So whenever we say attachment, it is the It is the idea of path that you have about yourself and also for the person that you are in love. Keeping that idea, you just want them to be the same and want yourself to be the same. And therefore, we create most of the as the author said, drama. It is how we glorify each other's whatever, whether it's in a filmy way or it's in a way that, little jealous, little possessiveness, little that, little this. So we always glorify that attachment in a way that it always end up in a probably if you're more evolved into what is called love, what is called self-awareness, then probably this won't be a situation. So I read it somewhere. If you see somebody and all of a sudden, when it especially on this romantic relationship, if you see somebody and all of your butterflies are just moving around, you couldn't able to stay quiet, and your heart is pumping, your stomach is in butterflies, and all of your sensations are up, that is actually not love. True love is when you feel calm, peace, and most evolved, and you just feel like at ease with that person is actually what you feel as love. So I think that is something I can relate the topics or the chapter into that uh, quote. And the second thing that author told is, I mean, that I have taken as important for me is happiness and pleasure. So he just told that this particular moment and will never come in your life ever again. So if you can see that in that sense, then you wouldn't go out for reaching out for anything great, but you will always be grateful for what you have. Is how I have taken that. And one beautiful words that I you know kind of took it is volunteer commitments in relationship. If you really do the volunteer commitments to make things right or to take up the topic, talk in honesty and reciprocity, I think that is one of the best things that you can do for the relationship. And obviously communication is not just talking, it is about how you communicate, how generous are you, and how you can understand the other person's shoes is something. I mean, he explained it in detail, and that word is very moving for me. So that's my takeaways from the chapters. Thank you.
Thank you, Pravina, for sharing that. That was beautiful. So, yeah, I think we are done with the reading section. We are done with the things we wanted to exchange, the perspectives and the takeaways. I think all of us have beautiful takeaways from today's read, and we have heard each other's perspective as well. So, having this one thing in mind, understanding and how to be compassionate and kind and sympathetic, and understanding others' perspective is the most important part of it. So I think we are going with a good read at our homes. We should give a try to the reflective questions we are taking to our home every day after the read. So focusing on those things and reflecting on all the things we are reading and learning is very important to actually learn good things from. Obviously, we are giving 1 hour of our time to discuss things, to read books. So I urge all of you to please take care of this one thing, that we are also implementing those things in practicality. And obviously, one day will not be enough to change everything. Overnight, nothing will change. And today, in today's read, also we learned that you should need to go very slowly. But learning and going smooth and slowly, changing things for better within ourselves, within our relationships is very important. So yeah, I hope today's read was good for everyone. Thank you so much for being good, extremely good, amazing co-readers. And maybe I won't be able to see you tomorrow, but I'll try. But in case I'm not available, we are going to read from page number 122. So see you tomorrow, or hopefully day after tomorrow. And that was all for today's read. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Jyoti. It was
Thank you
beautiful.
so
Yeah.
much,
And
Thank
I'm
you.
everyone.
loving the format of the reflective questions at the end of every chapter. That's really nice of this
Yes,
book.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
everyone. Have a good
Thank
day.
you
Bye
all. Have a
bye.
great day.
Bye bye.
Bye.